So I'm a bit late to the party, but basically I just recently tried some ube pandesal, and these have been like the craze here in the Philippines for the past few months. And they're filled with like an ube filling, or basically purple yam filling. And pandesal are basically sweet bread rolls. So this is basically a delicious like bread with like a nice good filling. And I'm gonna start off with some ube powder or purple yam powder. And basically we're gonna like reconstitute this with a bit of hot water. So we're just gonna go and give this a good mix. So mix it well to dilute. It's gonna take a bit of mixing just to get like small lumps to just kind of break down as well. But it's totally fine because we're just gonna knead this on later with the dough. So here's like the ube puree, and we have like a bowl of flour and some sugar, some salt, some instant yeast, and basically we're just gonna mix all the dry ingredients together. So we're gonna add in some warm soy milk or oat milk and just give that a good mix as well, as long as the oil. And basically just add in the ube puree as well. So basically just add all the wet to the dry ingredients. And we're gonna go and mix this up. And it's gonna take a while for this to come together. At first you'll think it's a bit dry, but trust me, this is how it's gonna look like. It's gonna be a little wet. It's gonna be a very sticky dough, and it's gonna be a bit hard to work with at first. So I did use my spatula, but eventually I oiled my hand, like basically just rubbed my hand with some oil. And it's gonna prevent the dough from sticking to my hand. And I'm just gonna keep kneading this. It's gonna take maybe around 10 to 15 minutes, but you can go and keep adding some flour if you think it's still too sticky and it's still too hard to work with. So we're just gonna go and patiently knead this together. So it's really gonna take a bit of kneading and a bit of arm work, but trust me, it's gonna be really worth it. So I just went ahead and kept kneading this until the dough really starts to come together and the buns start to go stronger. And basically you're gonna want to add more flour if needed, just to kind of dry it up a bit, because it's gonna be a really wet and sticky dough. So just keep kneading that, and it's gonna take a good maybe 5 to 10 more minutes of constant kneading and constant struggling, but it's really gonna be worth it at the end. So I just kept kneading this, and it really does stick to your hands, so just really bear with it and add a bit more flour as needed, and just keep mixing. And slowly you'll notice that the dough is not as sticky anymore, so just scrape the sides from the bowl just so nothing goes to waste. And we're gonna go ahead and give that another good knead. And once you see that the dough starts to get really nice and a bit more firm, we're gonna go and remove it from the bowl. So what I did here was basically I just took out this huge ball and rubbed some oil on the bowl, and I placed back the ball of dough, and we're gonna let this rest and rise for at least an hour in a warm spot in your house, or maybe inside your oven. It really depends on the room temperature where you live. Meanwhile, I have here the ube filling. I have a recipe linked down below. It's on my blog if you want to check that out. Or you can use a store-bought filling if you like, and some vegan mozzarella cheese shreds. Or you can also use up a block and chop it up into 20 pieces. It's totally up to you, but I love the sweet and savory flavors. And basically, we're gonna go back to the dough, and you can see here it's doubled in size. We're gonna go and flour our work surface and just place the dough on the floured surface. And just give it a good, just nice poke. And I divided it basically in half. And we're just gonna go ahead and work on these like per piece so it's easier to work with. So I kept the other one under a towel to prevent it from drying. And I'm basically gonna like roll this into like a large donut so I can easily divide it into 10 pieces. So what I did was I divided it into half. So you have here like 2 long logs, and divided each one into 5. So I got here 10 pieces in total of around 58 to 60 grams each. And I basically just repeated the rest, and basically I did the same until I had 20 balls in total. So we're gonna make sure to cover this to prevent it from drying. So we're basically gonna work on each piece one by one. So just get a small, like one piece of dough first. Give it a nice roll and a pinch, and basically we're just like kind of flatten it a bit. Add the ube filling and a bit of cheese. And I'm gonna punch it down and kind of just like pinch the top edges, kind of like making a bun, like a Chinese bun, but really pinch the edges together, and just make sure to pinch it well to seal. And after we think that there's no more like filling seeping through, we're just gonna go ahead and roll this on the surface. So give it a nice, like good roll. You can also roll it on your hands if you want, or on the surface. And basically, we're gonna go ahead and roll this over some breadcrumbs. So this is that nice crunch that you get when you bake them. So I also didn't have fine breadcrumbs, so I used Japanese breadcrumbs and just like process them. I'm gonna leave these to proof and preheat the oven while we're at it. And once they're proofed and ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and bake them for 20 to 22 minutes at 350. And basically, they're gonna get really crisp on the outside. It's not that obvious, but it gets really crisp and like a bit hard on the outside. And you can see the inside here with the filling and the really like stretchy, fluffy dough. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this recipe and let me know if you guys enjoy this because I really love pandesal growing up, but I'm kind of new to the ube trend. So yeah, thanks so much, and you can find more of my recipes linked in the description box below. I'll see you guys in my next video.